Gracelynn Vick, a 6-year-old girl from Saucier, Mississippi, mysteriously vanished while playing in her front yard on April 13, 2020. Despite extensive searches by her family, community volunteers, and law enforcement, her body was discovered later that day near her home. The tragedy has left the community and her family in shock. Gracelynn, remembered for her vibrant spirit and love for animals, comes from a family already grieving the recent loss of her 13-year-old sister and 17-year-old brother. As the investigation continues, questions arise regarding the circumstances of her death. Is there something more sinister at play? How does law enforcement determine if foul play is involved in cases like this? In such cases, I initially categorize the scene as a homicide scene. Even if the investigation direction is unclear, the sheriff's department leads the investigation, and homicide detectives assess the situation, relying on evidence to guide their inquiries. For a child's disappearance, the first priority is to mobilize resources for a search. Given the child's young age, it's unlikely she ran away, prompting a comprehensive search effort for her safe return. As the investigation unfolds, detectives must follow the evidence to understand the situation. They need to be open to the scene's evolution, gaining critical insights into the events that occurred. In the first 24 hours, swift action is crucial, focusing on finding the child alive rather than recovery. While the situation may eventually shift to recovery, the aim is to locate the child safely. We must avoid turning this into a recovery effort. Early evidence gathering begins with examining the disappearance area, involving discussions with witnesses and family. Understanding where the child was last seen is essential for assessing the environment surrounding the incident. Understanding the neighborhood's layout is vital, whether it includes open fields or forested areas, as this helps hypothesize the child's possible direction. Identifying nearby surveillance cameras that might provide useful information is also important. Considering potential scenarios, such as a staged incident, what signs would indicate possible manipulation? While I avoid hypotheticals, it's crucial for evidence to guide the investigation. Detectives will examine the scene and verify it against witness accounts. All elements must align for the investigation to progress effectively. If detectives find inconsistencies in witness accounts, it will raise more questions and necessitate further interviews. Keeping witnesses separate is vital to ensure consistent information about the disappearance. While narratives may differ, common elements should exist. Vastly different accounts might reveal significant clues. Investigations require a methodical approach, remaining open to evidence. Following the recent discovery of a girl's body, questions arise about the timing of potential arrests. Though it appears there isn't enough reason for one yet, and details are scarce, an autopsy is underway to determine if foul play was involved, and certain information must be kept confidential to maintain the investigation's integrity. The location of the body is critical to the investigation. Questions about whether it was found in a pond or wooded area are relevant. Determining the cause of death is a priority, and investigators will examine evidence to reach conclusions. With speculation surrounding the case, it's concerning that the girl was missing for 6 hours before being found close to home. This raises questions about the search process and the unique challenges faced in different environments. Understanding the facts and evidence is essential, especially if the autopsy doesn't reveal a clear cause of death, which could complicate criminal investigations. If the medical examiner declares the cause of death undetermined, it would indeed pose significant challenges moving forward. The manner of death is crucial for deciding if a criminal investigation will occur. An undetermined cause complicates matters, but does not prevent investigation. Medical examiner rulings are medical legal and do not directly overlap with criminal law, raising questions about potential classifications of the deaths, including homicide or accidental death. Such classifications guide authorities on how to proceed. The investigation can continue without a confirmed cause. It has shifted from a missing persons case to a homicide inquiry. Authorities are dedicated to resolving the circumstances surrounding the girl's death. Location does not affect the investigation, which will persist regardless of whether the death occurred on private or public property. While initial details are unclear, the investigation aims to uncover the truth. Social media platforms like Justice for Gracelynn may have mixed effects, often leading to conspiracy theories that can hinder rather than help investigations. Forensic evidence from the scene and the autopsy is essential, including DNA collection and a rape kit examination, which are critical to determining the nature of death. A crime scene unit will also gather relevant evidence from both the location of her disappearance and the scene itself. The collection of evidence is vital, influencing the investigation's direction. Investigators assess the scene to distinguish between accidental death and homicide. Often, a suspicious scene lacks signs of death. For instance, a woman found resting in a neighborhood showed no trauma. Though she had scars, The autopsy will reveal the cause of death, suggesting her body may have been moved. This situation prompts questions about the body and recovery scene to guide the investigation. In this case, the cause of death was determined to be a drug overdose, with scars and minor bruising evident on the body. Preliminary observations are important, but thorough investigation is crucial, particularly regarding Child Protective Services involvement. Investigating missing children requires understanding the circumstances of their disappearance. I would reach out to Child Protective Services for any prior complaints related to the family to explore any indications of foul play. Findings will determine the investigation's next steps, which may involve CPS if concerning issues arise, especially regarding any other children in the home. We must ensure their environment is safe. Currently, we're awaiting autopsy results, which will guide legal actions. If deemed accidental, the case may conclude without charges, similar to practices in Houston. While parents aren't legally required to take polygraph tests, detectives may suggest them voluntarily if needed. However, polygraphs aren't admissible in court and are mainly for investigative pressure.